8:36. Yeah. Welcome everyone. Welcome to the third week of the Georgia Bots Month. Um, yeah, we are tasting this guy. This little fun little label. 2021 Lavina Aladasturi. Aladasturi. I don't know. My pronunciation this full month is terrible, so I apologize for anyone who speaks Georgian out there. But happy almost holidays, as Leah was pointing out. I don't know if you all what your plans are for the holidays, but the next week our tasting falls right on Christmas Day on the 25th. So what I've also, I'm sorry, I don't mean to objectify you, Liz, but your arm's looking fucking ripped just right now. You're looking.
I bruised it so badly. I'm learning a skateboard.
Yeah? Oh,
and
no.
it like hurts. I just fell on it again today. So
oh no.
I'm trying to stretch it out. Anyway, sorry.
Yeah. Anyways, no, I'm just saying. Looking jacked, looking good. But anyways, next week, the tasting falls on Wednesday. So obviously it's Christmas Day. So I thought about maybe do we get people together on the day after? But the truth is, I'm just gonna do a recording. So I'm gonna do a recording. Already did a recording actually earlier today at 3 p.m. with Heidi. So this is the second tasting for Heidi as well as myself. But that recording will go out next week. I mean, it's Christmas, it's holidays. Spend it with your family. Maybe shit gets stressful, then you have a recording and have an excuse to get away from them and watch it the way it best. So. But anyways, so yeah, it's going to be a recording. We're not going to have actual Zoom tasting next week. And then, in case you haven't noticed, the Wednesday after that is actually January 1st. So it's New Year's Day. And that is also off week because they're essentially, I know it's January, but you all know how we start tasting after the first Tuesday of each month. So the first Tuesday of January is on the 7th. So that first is also off week. So basically, this is the last tasting we're going to get in 2024, live tasting. Next week will be a recording. January 1st will be off. And then we'll start back up with a January box on January 8th. Okay. I will send an email out when I send the recording out next week with all this, obviously, but just while I have you here, just letting you know that recording next week, January 1st is off, and then 8th we pick back up with the January box. In case you haven't heard, I guess you haven't heard anything because I haven't said anything about it. January theme is going to be Argentina. So we're going to south of the border, but it's not the typical Malbec, Torrontes, Chardonnay that you think of Argentina. I'm going to try to show you some different aspects of Argentina. We got some cool Malbec sparkling. We got some. Fingers crossed, I have a big tasting tomorrow, Argentinian tasting. I'm looking to score some high elevation Pinot Noir from Argentina, which most people don't think about. But there's some incredible Pinot Noir being grown in Argentina, especially up in the high elevation. And Malbecs of different styles. Anyways, yeah, so kind of different side, kind of the more of a, now that we're moving out of the Robert Parker era, less of this punch in your face kind of Malbec style, more of a more elegant, kind of a lighter on his feet kind of style Argentinian wines. So that's what's happening in January, in case you're wondering. And while on that topic, the invoices went out on the 15th, so 3 days ago. If you are skipping next month, just let me know. Shoot me an email, shoot me a text, and just let me know. No offense taken if you decide to skip. I know a lot of you do dry January, you masochistic human beings. I don't know why you do something like that to yourselves, but you know what? I know some of you do that. So if you need to skip January, that's fine. Just let me know. While on the topic, I also sent this out on the reminder email yesterday, but hits from the past. It's the end of the year, which means it's time for you to revisit any and all the wines that you like refeatured. So I sent out an email with a list of all the wines that I featured we featured on Case Club, Bosch Box, regular box, monthly box, all in 2024. So look through that list, see if there's anything that piques your interest, see if you want to re-featured, and then I'll check the inventory level. And then if it's available, I'll put it on Case Club in January so you can reload. That also goes to any other wines that we've tasted in last 4 years of doing this wine club. If there's something that you want more of, let me know, and then I'll see if I can, if it's in stock, and then get you some more. So now is the time. So look at that list. Please just reply back to the email that I sent out, and just let me know which one you're interested. And then if it's available, then I'll put it on Case Club. Also, the vintage and the exact pricing is not guaranteed because obviously, we tasted this in the past and the vintage might have changed, prices might have gone up. But yeah, so until I check the inventory level, I can't guarantee that it will be the same price or the same vintage. But yeah, so there you go. I think that's all the announcements that I have for now. Any questions about anything that I just went over before we get into the wine?
Did you say you could get some older year, past year wines like leahfuentes?
I can ask, see if they have it. So yeah, just shoot me an email and then let me know if there's a particular delinquente wines that you are interested in, or and some past vintages you would like. Then I can ask.
Okay.
Yeah, it may have to come a little bit later because obviously it depends on the container ship situation and all of that. But yeah, let me know. Just shoot me an email and let me know. Any other questions about logistics, announcements, any of that? Cool. Last but not least, this month we are donating 1% of our gross revenue to Food for All DC. So if you want to donate alongside 6 Foot Wine Club, the donation link is right there in the chat box. If you want to learn more about what they do, the link is also in there right there. If you don't want to donate, that's also fine too, but just want to give you an opportunity. Right, let's get into the wine. So if you're just joining us now, we're tasting this guy. This fun little label, 2021 Lavina Aladasturi. Aladasturi. Let's go with that. Heidi, you have any opinion on how to say that? Aladasturi? Yeah, I hope it's right. Anyways, let's start with the map. There we go. Here we go. All right. So here's a map of Georgia. Right? And just as a review, in case you were wondering where Georgia is, or you're joining us for the first time this month, it's right here. It's kind of where Europe and Asia meet, just north of kind of the Middle East. Eurasia, I guess is what they would call it. So it's east of Turkey, north of Middle East, Syria, Iraq, and Iran. And then on the north is bordered by Russia. And then on the west side, this is the Black Sea. And on the east side, it is the Caspian Sea. So as you can imagine, culturally, politically, I mean, it's in a very geopolitically very advantageous as well as disadvantageous position in the world. So every civilization, culture pretty much has gone through Georgia and it's left. It's marked here. Part of the reason why it's history and culture is so fascinating is because of that. But also the wine, as of right now, the oldest evidence of winemaking in human history is found right here in Georgia. So probably a lot, I would even willing to bet majority of the wine varieties that we're familiar with that comes from France and Italy, kind of the international varieties that we know of, they probably have their roots right here in Georgia. This is where it kind of started. But yeah, so it's a country of 8,000 plus years of winemaking history. It is one of the oldest wine culture in the world, in human history. But if you look at it a little more closely, this is what the country looks like. As you can see, the wine is made kind of across the entire country. This region on the far east, Kaheti, this is a green part, is the most important, most significant, both in terms of quality as well as quantity. as well as a acreage area under vine. And in fact, if you've ever had Georgian wine in America, the chances are it probably came from Kahiti. A lot of exports come from Kahiti. A lot of those wines, the Georgian wines that get exported, come from Kahiti, just because this is kind of the epicenter of winemaking. It's kind of like Napa of Georgia, essentially. But not to be outdone, Imereti, which is where we are this week. So this month, representative of what I just said, which is Kahiti is the most significant, most in terms of both quality as well as quantity. 3 out of 4 bottles this month come from Kahiti. But this week's wine is the only wine that's the outlier that comes from Imereti, which is this little army green part right here. This is they're kind of surrounded by, there's a river that runs through right here, big river, but also is surrounded by mountains on pretty much all sides, on at least 3 different sides. So this is a very, very mountainous region. It's also the second biggest wine region after Kahiti. Also very significant both in terms of quantity as well as quality. The winter here is quite cold. It's cold and wet. The summer here is hot and dry. And because this mountain kind of cuts off some of the influence, a lot of this Black Sea kind of maritime influence that you may expect, because it's much closer to the coast than Kahiti is. And more inland you go, more continental the climate becomes, meaning it gets really fucking hot in the summer and it gets really fucking cold in the winter. So you get less of that as you go towards the west, towards a big body of water, because it has a moderating influence, right? But because of this mountain that runs through here, it kind of cuts off some of the influence. So it's not as much maritime influence that you see here. So the summer does get pretty hot. The winter does get pretty cold, but because it's kind of surrounded, it has a very distinct subtropical climate here, which is very different from the rest of Georgia. And that's part of why this is interesting. And, this is the whole point of this month, is that, I was trying to show kind of different side of Georgia. I wasn't just trying to show the typical, the Saperavi and the orange wines that are so tannic and they'll rip your gum out and so, punch you in the face, which is abundant in the marketplace. But I want to show a little bit different kind of a side, different styles that are available, and to kind of showcase the variety, the wide ranging style that's available in Georgia. And definitely wines from Imereti, not only because of the climate here, but also because of soil type, as well as winemaking technique. It creates a very distinctive different style than Kahiti. So soil type here, you start to find pockets of a limestone here, which is, as we all know, wines that are grown in limestone tends to have these kind of really straightforward tension, really good acid structure, a lot more kind of strong backbone, kind of a lot more linear kind of wines. And then that's where you find right here in Imereti. The winemaking here, like I mentioned, also changes quite a bit. So, as we think of Georgia, we obviously think of orange wine, wines that are white wines that are made in like red wine, right? Basically soaks, it's macerated on the skins. But in Kahiti, they put everything. I mean, it's the skins, it's the stems, it's the seeds, basically entire whole bunch, cluster of grapes get crushed, and then all of that goes into cuveri, that amphora, the clay vessel, that the Georgian classic traditional winemaking vessel that Georgia is known for. It all goes in there, and then it just macerates and ferments for months on end, sometimes up to years. And that's part of the reason why it becomes so tannic and becomes so savory, and almost, in my opinion, almost sometimes out of balance. And you really need food to really make those wines make sense. It's really hard, difficult wines to drink on its own. But as you come to Imereti, there's still skin contact here for sure, but there's rarely ever a stem inclusion. So we're talking about just purely skins. So there's no stems going in here, as well as the maceration period is much shorter. So we're talking about a month, maybe 2 months at a time usually. Rarely ever goes beyond 3 months, but usually after about 2 months, also the wines get racked off the skins, and then they actually get finished out and ages in barrels, which is again very different from Kahiti and then the rest of the rest of Georgia, but particularly Kaheti. The Kaheti is where you get really that phenolic skin stem seed, like all of the inclusion here. So very dramatic departure from that style. So as you can probably taste today in today's wines, it becomes much lighter. Combine that with the elevation of mountains um, and lighter extraction. Yeah, it just makes for a much more elegant, kind of lighter on its feet kind of style of wines. So if you've ever had Kaheti wines and you thought, oh my God, Georgian wines are too big, it's not my thing, well, get out of Kaheti. Go check out Imereti. Even Kartli here is different, but particularly Imereti, with its mountainous elevation, the style changes quite a bit. Let's talk about who makes this. Oh yeah, this is kind of like, these are some of the pictures I pulled out. This is what Imereti kind of looks like. Oh, and then this is kind of cool. I don't know how to pronounce this, but Kashki Shveti. This is like this rock pillar that shoots out in the middle of Imereti in the mountain region. This is actually a working monastery that's on top of it. 40 meters high. Apparently, it's like 131 steps to get up there. And then monks still live there and work there. So it's one of the big stopping attraction, tourist attraction there. But yeah, this is kind of what the landscape looks like, which is very different from kind of what we saw in Kaheti. This is the guy who makes the wine. By the way, the name of the winery is Lavina, and his name is Bakar Narcia. Young guy. No website, no information. I couldn't find any information about him about the website, about the winery, or him on the internet. So I had to actually reach out to him through the importer directly. There's his email in the back, which is his personal Gmail address, and I got some answers back. But just like a lot of other Georgian winemakers, one, there's no tech sheets, there's no real technical information, and two, there's really no information about his background. So sorry to say, but this time I really don't have any information on him except for that this is him and his name is Bakar Narcia. But in that email, when asked about his kind of winemaking philosophy or approach, he just wrote back saying, winemaking is a big tradition for my family. I truly believe in the traditional way of Georgian winemaking connected to the natural winemaking is what he wrote. And then he also mentioned in the email that the label is a love story between him and his wife is basically what he wrote. So besides that, only other information that I have about the producer is that this is quite possibly the smallest, and we, in general, feature very small capacity producers here at Six Foot Wine Club, but he's probably the smallest size winery producer that we've ever featured. He owns just 2 hectares of vineyards. So very, very small, split between Imereti and Kartli, which is the region that you saw here, which is Tbilisi is in. By the way, the winery is actually just outside of Tbilisi, in this little part right here outside of, what is it called? Hold on, I wrote it down here. Natakatari, Natakhtari, which is just outside of Tbilisi. It doesn't show up on the map, but it's right around here. So the winery is there. So he has some holdings there, but he also has some other holdings in Imereti. So this particular wine comes from his own holding vineyard in Imereti, and then the fruit basically gets trucked in from there into his winery in Nakatari, and then it gets vinified there. So yeah, he owns just 2 hectares of vineyards. He does purchase some fruits as well, because obviously you can't make enough wine to make a living with 2 hectares of a vineyard. Lavina was started in 2015 with the Aladasturi, which is this grape right here, as his first bottling, and it still remains his signature wine blend. It's Aladasturi also is one of the many. There are 500 plus indigenous varieties of Georgia. It's not really found anywhere. In fact, I've never even heard of it. I didn't even know what it was until I tasted it for this box. But it's oftentimes, from what I could find out on the research, that it is oftentimes used to make a kind of a semi-sweet style rosé. or sometimes is used as a blending grape variety. But in this case, with the Bakar, he's actually turning it into a 100% varietal expression and bottling of that. I actually enjoy it quite a bit. I've actually never had a wine this delicate from Georgia. So this is all 100% biodynamically grown Aladasturi. It's all estate grown, so he's not purchasing this fruit. He grew it himself on alluvial and clay soil. The winemaking here is going to sound different for almost all the other wines that we've had from Kahiti are almost exactly the same. Maybe maceration amount changes a little bit, but this wine changes quite a bit. So first, the Aladasturi grapes come into the cellar, and then he crushes it. Well, actually, he doesn't crush it; just leaves it, and then the free run juice, which is the juices that are coming out from his own under his own weight. Those are kind of like the best juice to ferment. So he takes the free run juice, puts it in the cuvee, and by the way, cuvee they call it churi in this region. And then yeah, so the free run juice ferments without the skins, without the skin contact for about a month. But the rest of it about is 20% skins, and then ferments it and macerates it for about a month. Again, very different from 3 to 6 month maceration that you see in Kahiti with a stem inclusion. Here is just skins and just 1 month. And it's part of the reason why you see much less color as well as a much lighter style of it. Spontaneous fermentation, no filtering, no fining. And then there's absolutely no sulfites here as well at any point during the winemaking. So we're talking about a 0-0 natty wine with a capital N. So yeah, it's a very kind of a pure varietal expression of Aladasturi. Any questions about anything I just went over with that before we get into tasting it? Excellent. Let's taste the wine. Who wants to take the appearance? Come on, people.
I'll do it.
All right, Kristen.
All right. Okay, I need my glasses. Hold on. I see it up there. Okay. I don't think this wine is completely clear.
Yeah, I mean, for intents and purposes of this grid, I would still probably call this clear. But yeah, you're totally right. I mean, you can tell this is not a filtered fine wine. You know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's funky.
Yeah, it's got a little haze. It's not star bright. It's not super translucent as you would find in fine wines. But yeah, but yeah. So I would say clear, but not filtered, not fine. Intensity.
Medium.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, it's like a lower end of medium. I don't want to go all the way to calling it pale, but yeah, it's like lower end of medium. I can still like clearly see through the deepest core. I can see my keyboard letters very clearly through my wine. So yeah, I'll call this about medium minus. Yeah, medium minus intense. Colors of, what do you got?
I think it's really, I don't know, it's kind of ruby, but it is a little, I don't know.
Yeah, there's something
For the
here,
record,
right?
I can never see through my wine, so I don't know.
You need better lighting.
I mean, it's like between ruby and garnet for me.
Yeah,
it's pretty red.
There's something more than ruby here. I completely agree. Whether is it garnet, is a little bit of like orange hue with the ruby, but yeah, it's not pure ruby. I 100% agree. There's something else going on here.
Even around the edges for me, it's like a little purpley almost, even around the edges, like right at the.
Yeah, but yeah, to me, this is like, yeah, a little bit of ruby with a flecks of garnet maybe coming in, little flecks of orange, brownish orange, kind of like a coming in here. Yeah, but glad that you made a point of saying this is not like a pure ruby here. There's some other colors thrown in here as well. Any other observations?
Not now. When I first poured it into the decanter, it wasn't like true bubbles or but it had like it had little bubbles just sort of around the edge at the top.
Yeah, there's definitely some effervescence there. I won't go as far as calling it like sparkling, but it's a lot of just traps here too. There's wine's just this quite fresh. But yeah, I definitely got some little bit of prickles, just a prickling of the tongue when I first opened the bottle. It blew off quite quickly. Like I'm not getting it in my glass right now. But yeah,
it was in the decanter, but then by the time I put it in the glass, I didn't get it in the glass.
Yeah, but yeah, excellent observation. All right, you get to pick the next person for the nose.
Okay. I'm just gonna go below me, which is Leah, if you're there.
I am here. It's funny you say that because I was just texting Sara. I was like, I'm gonna volunteer for the taste because I had done it last week and I was feeling strong about it. So I was like, I need to do it again to like remind myself. But we'll go with nose, gotta get in there. But also kind of similar. I forget all the time, so I might just need some help. And I'm sorry to say.
Yeah, that's all right. Practice makes perfect.
That's right. So
let's go with the nose. Condition.
Clean?
Yeah, this one is clean. This one is sound. The fact that this wine is this clean with no sulfites added is fascinating to me. I mean, getting it blind, I would think there's some level of sulfites here, but it is so clean, which is fascinating. It's wild. Again, speaks volume about his winemaking, speaks volume about his farming, which is great. All right, clean intensity.
I mean, I feel like medium plus to maybe even well, I don't know. We opened ours and maybe we didn't decant, but like I smell it like way out here.
Yeah, I smell it here. It's quite expressive. I'm gonna call this medium plus. Yep, for sure. Medium plus aromas of. What do you get?
Right, this is always the hard part. Okay, so I think there's some floral, but I can't like identify it. Maybe rose. I don't know. It's a floral of some sort, but I don't know what kind.
Okay.
But I smell a hint of something.
Yep. I can accept some rose petals here. It's not a hugely floral wine for me, but yeah, I can be convinced that there's some like a red flower, rose petals, and things like that. Sure.
Yeah, like not a lot, but yes, I think a little bit. No green, no citrus. Not really stone for me, I don't think. No tropical. Maybe red cherry. Cranberry.
Yeah, to me, this is where this wine lives, right here. This red fruit. I mean, we're talking about red cherry.
I think plum too.
Yeah, red plum. Pomegranate. I get like a lot of pomegranate on this thing. Like not even like a fresh pomegranate, but almost like that. If you ever go to like a Middle Eastern market, they sell like that pomegranate, like not syrup, like an extract kind of a thing. It's like a thick kind of a thing. I get some of that here. But yeah, I mean, this is where it is. Like name all red currant, cranberry, pomegranate, red plum, red cherry. Yeah, all in the red. This is basically what I get here.
Yeah, and I'm not super familiar with like bramble, or I wouldn't say blueberry, but like maybe black cherry, black plum.
Little black, yeah. Something
I had that.
Yeah, bramble is essentially, I mean, this is a very British term, but it's basically like a lot of berries that you can't tell if it's really blackberry or red berry, but it's like berry. That's what bramble is. Yeah.
Bramble equals berry. Well, then maybe yes.
Yeah. The nature of the fruit.
I don't really smell like at least for me, not too much prune or jamminess.
No,
Not really.
I think this is really fresh, perfectly ripe. There's there's nothing necessarily like unripe about any of this. Really ripe, beautiful, like yeah, ripe red fruit is basically what I get here.
Yeah. And then of course I don't see herbaceous or herbal. I don't.
Yeah, so this is where part of why this wine really spoke to me is that this part. So it's not what's on here, but to me, and call me if you think I'm crazy here, but when I first smelled this one and taste this wine, to me, it tasted like that pomegranate, kind of like extract, syrup, concentrate pomegranate juice with like bay leaf. I get these like fresh bay leaf running through that, like kind of like just touch of that savory with a like, little bit of like pepperiness here. And that's what I found really interesting and like about this wine.
Okay. I'm gonna say okay. I could with you.
I mean, you
go
can
with
say
you on
no.
it.
You're like you're fucking crazy. You out of your goddamn mind.
No, when you said it, I don't know, maybe it's power suggestion and or listening to my expert here, but no, like I'm trying to like, I mean, it's been a while since I've just like picked up and smelled a bay leaf, but yeah.
Yeah, but it's not just fruit in this wine, is what I'm trying to get at, right?
Yeah.
Like to me, there's just some savory balance to all that really, all that red cherry, red plum, pomegranate, all the things that you called out. Like there's that savory balance to it with a little bit like a spice, a little bit of that the pepperiness and that's what I was trying. So any minerality, any rockiness?
I don't know. I don't think so.
Yeah, I don't get much of it here. It's I mean, this was grown in clay and sandy soil, which is, you know, it makes the wines really like bright and top and ethereal, but like it doesn't give it that kind of like a rocky minerality thing. So yeah. Any secondary, any tertiary thing here?
Um, I don't I don't I don't think so. Maybe.
Yeah,
Yeah, no.
me neither.
Okay.
Yeah, me neither.
Like really trying to smell it. Like, is there?
You're overthinking it, yeah. Just like, you know, it's just kind of, you can move through these things. I'm like, do I get these? Do I get no? Like if your initial gut reaction is no, then just move over, or like move
That's
on.
true.
Like it's good. Yeah. Don't. This is actually one of the things that my instructor, my mentor told me is like, don't go looking for it in the wine. You know, let the wine tell you, but like, don't go looking for it in the wine because, you know, whatever your initial thing kind of comes over is what you get. So yeah, I don't really get a secondary or tertiary here. To me, this is very fresh, kind of primary driven, a lot of fruit, a lot of fresh, ripe fruit with a little bit of that kind of like bay leaf, some sort of like kind of like herbaceous, herbal, kind of a savory with a turn or two of like a pepper is basically what I get as well. Excellent. You get to pick the next person for the palette.
All right, I'm gonna take the approach and pick the person below me, which is Philip. So Philip, if you're wanting to take it on.
Mr. Dahan.
But that was fun. Thanks, Soon.
Yeah.
I'll give it a try.
All right.
Let's see. Well, this wine is definitely dry.
Definitely dry. Bone dry. Very, very dry.
Very bone dry.
Yeah. Acidity?
It's I get acidity. Yeah, it's pretty good. I'd say a medium plus acidity.
Yeah. I would go all the way to medium plus maybe, but definitely higher than medium, lower than medium plus. Yeah. So it's a good acidity. Yeah.
And then for a tannin, it's I think there's a lot. I get a lot of tannin in this. Yeah. I don't know where again, maybe a medium to a medium plus tannin.
Yeah. Does anyone else get a lot of tannin on this wine? What do you guys think about tannin on this thing?
But it's not it's smooth, but it's a smooth tannin.
See, that's interesting that I get completely opposite. So I actually think the tannin level here is rather not that high. I mean, it makes sense. Imereti, again, with the lighter extractions, shorter amount of maceration period, it just doesn't extract as much as you would find in Kaheti. But the quality of the tannin, the mouthfeel of the tannin, to me is quite rustic. Like so, like it's not like this really powdery tannin. Like yeah, there's some chew to this tannin. It's quite grippy. So I'm gonna call this like lower end of medium, higher end of medium minus kind of a tannin level. But like if you guys pay attention to like the nature of the tannin, like a lot of tannins that we've had in the past have been really kind of these like fine sandpaper, fine grit sandpaper, powdery tannin. But this one to me seems quite rustic and chewy. So yeah, lower amount of tannin, but like very kind of like a rougher texture of tannin, which is very different from what we've had in the past, where like tannin may get higher, but the texture of the tannin was finer. So, but I mean, I'd love to hear what everybody else thinks and what you're getting on this thing. But yeah, put it in the chat box, and then we can talk about it at the end. All right, let's get to alcohol.
Alcohol's a medium to a low. It's not a real hot wine.
Yeah, no. I mean, I'll call this probably, I don't know, 12.5. Oh, 11.8. So yeah. Again, 11.8 in Georgia, like that's you don't see that very often. Or at least in America, you don't see that very often. So yeah, 11.8, that's where in the low end of medium, upper end of medium minus kind of territory is basically what we're talking about. So. Yeah. Body.
I don't think it's very. I think it's a medium body. It's not heavy.
Yeah, I'll call this a medium myself as well. I actually expect it to be lighter, but it's got some weight. It's not nothing. So I'll call this about medium as well. Body, agree with you.
Right.
No mousse here. Flavor intensity.
And flavor intensity is I get a medium plus, medium to medium plus flavor intensity. It's pretty healthy.
Yeah, it's elegant, but like the flavors are pop, like they're very expressive here, both on the nose and the palate. I'll also give it this medium plus as well. Do you agree with everything that Leah?
Yeah, I do. I got the cranberry especially.
Yeah.
And the no tropical.
Yeah.
The red fruit,
yep.
Red and black fruit. More of a cranberry than anything else that I get.
Yeah.
I feel.
Yeah, I think cranberry is a great call. I think like to me, this is a cranberry, pomegranate, red cherry, red plum, like pretty much all like red. I don't get a whole lot of like raspberry or strawberry per se, but like all the other ones, like I definitely get them here as well. Do you get some of that kind of like peppery bay leaf thing that I was talking about, or do you think I'm crazy?
I get that in the finish.
Yeah.
I don't get that it's in my mouth, but afterwards I feel the peppery.
Yeah, me too. It hits on, it comes on with the fruit, right? Like it hits you with the fruit, but then it evolves. Like as the fruit goes away, dissipates, you get a lot of this like savory finish at the end that lingers around, which I think is really pleasant. Good juxtaposition, kind of a good balance to the fruit. Do you get any secondary, tertiary, or?
I did not.
Yeah, me too. Just all primary. Finish. How long is it like?
Oh, it's a long finish. It's a pretty long finish. So I give it a medium plus. I mean, it stays.
Yeah. I guess I'm gonna call this, you know what? You get a little bit of like, just now, I just got a little bit of like, little like tangerine, orange peel kind of a thing at the end, but okay. Yeah, definitely call this like medium plus, high end of medium, lower than medium plus, but yeah, it's got some length. So it doesn't just dissipate. And it's also evolving too, like you mentioned. Sits on with the fruit, then it comes into that kind of like savory thing, and then I get a little bit like the orange tinge. Yeah, that's interesting. Actually, just got it. But yeah, medium plus, I'll call that as well. All right, conclusion.
Okay, so it's got heavy acid, a lot of acid, a good amount of acid, a good amount of tannin. It's lower alcohol, so it's got a good blend of. I'd give it a very good because I enjoyed drinking it.
Well, let's talk about it. Do you think this wine is balanced, Phil? Is there anything that sticks out
Well,
for you?
it's got the two items to. I don't find it out of balance either way.
I think this one is very harmonious. You know, it's interesting. I actually think that 11.8 may be lowballing it. Like I actually feel a little more alcohol than 11.8. But again, like this is what I'm talking about. Some wines, it could be lower ABV, but actually drink like it's hotter. But there's some wines that are much hotter, like 14.5, 15, but that doesn't drink like that. So it really depends on the wine. But I think the fact that this one is much lighter in its it's lighter in its color, but this wine does not lack its intensity and concentration. So the fact that sorry, I just lost a train of my thought. But the alcohol, at least, it seems a little bit hotter to me. It's coming off a little bit hotter than 11.8, but yeah, it is 11.8. Anyways, so it's balanced. Concentration wise, we called it medium plus on the nose, medium plus on the palate. Complexity, this maybe we got a maybe medium, if you want to call that, right? We're all in the primary, pretty much all just red fruit, some savory component, maybe tinge of orange peel, but like yeah, it's really red fruit, cranberry, pomegranate, a little bit of bay leaf, a little bit of black pepper, but no secondary, tertiary. Yeah, the concentration is where it kind of, I mean, complexity is where it kind of this wine lacks a little, but then length you also called it medium plus as well. So we got like 2 medium plus and then 1 in the like the low medium range. So overall, we're kind of clocking in the medium plus, somewhere between good and very good, leaning towards very good. So being generous, we're gonna call this very good. Would you age this?
Yeah. Now age this. I think it can take some aging. I think 3 to 5 years would probably work.
Yeah, that's kind of exactly what I was thinking. I mean, this is 2021, so it's got 3 years on it, but it's still very, very fresh. It's all in the primary, right? It doesn't have screaming acid. It doesn't have screaming tannin level. So it's probably not going to last for, it's not going to age for a very long time. But one of the things that we give a little dot some points for on this wine, or at least left wanting for more, was the fact that its complexity is maybe a little simple. So by letting this age a little bit, it's going to add more complexity. Some of the primary, which have plenty of, we call it medium plus in concentration. So some of the medium plus primary notes are going to become secondary and tertiary, adding a little more complexity. So bring this, squarely into a very good territory as opposed to split the difference between good and very good. So I think it could benefit from aging. I'd be interested to see how this develops with a little bit of age. And I think your call of 3 to 5 is, I think, excellent. I think this wine would be just fine for the next 3 to 5 age, and maybe can even go even further than that. But yeah, it's not meant for a long, long age. Excellent. Excellent job, Phil.
Thank you.
Excellent job, everyone. Any questions? Cool. Did you guys like this one? Yeah? Did anybody not like this one? Heidi, you have any comment on this wine? Having probably tasted more Georgian wines than anyone on this call, including myself.
This is a very rare grape.
Yeah.
So this is the first time I've tried it, which is fun. Yeah, I think everything said spot on. It's consistent with the grape. It's generally a lighter feel. It's not a very dark grape to begin with. It doesn't get much extraction. And I thought it was really great, like little light treat from Betty. Yeah.
See, like this wine blew my. This is the first wine that I tasted with this importer when I put it together for Georgia box, and I was like, Alex, you bring me wine, Georgian wines like this, like I'm gonna put all the wines from you in this box because, you know, like this blew my mind. I didn't know that the Georgian wines could be this elegant and this light. I just not that it couldn't be. I just never been exposed to it.
So you just never had it. Yeah.
Yeah, I've just never had it. So I was like, holy shit, this is amazing. Yeah, 11.8% light on its feet, but it's expressive. Like, yeah, it's great.
There's a whole world of grapes that just don't get brought in or are brought in very limited quantities. So yeah,
exactly.
This is a really fun example.
Exactly. So yeah, this is exactly what I was trying to do, which is kind of showcase different side of Georgia. This is fit into that perfectly. All right, let's play everybody's favorite game. How much do you think this is on a retail shelf? How much would you be happy paying for this on a retail shelf? Also, this would have been a fantastic Thanksgiving one. $32.35.
That's the second wine from this box that would have been great for Thanksgiving.
Yeah. Yeah, who'd have thought?
Georgia being nice
for Thanksgiving, you know? Who'd have thought? Sara, $20 and $33. Holy shit. All right.
Sara likes it. Sara.
It was really good. And then you're like, this guy's whole spiel is like, my family likes wine, you know? I don't think he's probably lowballing himself, is my guess.
Right?
I like that. All right.
Really,
all
when
right.
you talk to him in person, it's like, this wine is in my blood. And like, it's all poetic.
Yeah. I like it. 20, 26, 26, 25, 26, 36. All right, Liz Dahan. Well, you guys are about to be shocked, or you guys are about to thank me. So normally this wine would be $27 in the retail. However, I found this on their closeout clearance sale from my importer. So this wine for us will be $19.50 a bottle. If you buy a case, it goes down to $15.60 per bottle.
Oh shit.
So
it's about
just letting you know that
does anyone want to split a case?
I will.
Just letting you know. Yeah. We're talking about under $20 per bottle and that good.
Worth it.
Yeah, I was like, Alex, why is it that you haven't sold this wine? Like, why are you guys sitting on so much? It's like, you know, this is a struggle with the Georgian wines. Like, it's hard to sell Georgian wines to begin with, but on top of that, you throw in Aladasturi. People are like, what the fuck?
Aladasturi, like no one has a concept of what it is. So
they have no reference point what the wine is. So like nobody wants to try it. But here we are. But we are much more savvy than that.
If you had to give a reference point for this wine.
To me, this drinks a lot. Well, it's not a lot like, but this reminds me, the vibes reminds me of like the Italian Valpolicella, Amarone, but like fresher and lighter. like that style of wine. So if you are into that, and I mean, honestly, some like Barolo-esque-ish here as well. So yeah, if you're in that world and that's what you like, you probably like this one. Yeah, that's what I would probably say. If somebody was like, what is that wine like? I'll just be like, it's like Barolo, like a Veneto wine.
Except that it needs a decant. Like it needs to be managed. Like you couldn't just pour. I did do a pour when I first opened it, and it was like, whoa, it tastes like vinegar.
Yeah.
I was surprised we didn't talk about that, or maybe I missed it. But like the way that it cut, like you first open it, and it's like it's
yeah.
This is like great pizza wine. Like I think this is great pizza wine. Like
I can see that.
Do you remember that time I freaked out when you gave us that pizza wine that cost $45? I was like, I'm not buying $45 pizza wine. Like this is perfect pizza wine for 1950. Holy cow!
Yeah.
Except that it's dramatic.
Baby. Clears. You know, sometimes on a closeout you find some gems like this one.
For the record, just because we're not gonna see you live again, I guess we really just like this whole box, like the Georgia wines, like everyone. I mean, we've always liked every box, but like, you know, when you just every single one, the way we see is like if Ryan and I finish the bottle that night, we're like, okay, yes, you know, versus like we can't wait. So I think this box in particular has been just super good.
Good. Glad to hear it. Yeah, I had a lot of fun putting this box together, and you know, admittedly, like I said, like. I'm not very well versed in Georgian wine. This is just as much of learning experience for me as probably all of you. It's just that I just did the homework before you guys, so I can present it. But yeah, like honestly, I didn't have a whole big concept of what Georgian culture, Georgian wine was all about. And putting this box together was super fun, and it's really got my curiosity kicking. Like I really want to go to Georgia now. Like, so yeah, I'm glad you're enjoying it. Glad you're enjoying it. Any other questions, comments, concerns about this wine, this month's box?
You said that this guy was the smallest producer that we probably featured, and it was 2 hectares.
Yeah.
For someone who has no idea what a hectare is, like how big? What does that mean? How big is that?
2 hectares, probably like, I think 1 hectare is like 3 acres.
Okay. So like how like, and your producer has like cases of this though. Like how it's odd to me that like DC would have like a bunch of this guy's wine. Like, do you think he just exports it all, or?
Yeah, that's an excellent question. Yeah, I don't know. And also this importer is based out of Chicago. So, you know, I'm sure this wine, some of it is also in Chicago as well. So maybe, yeah, bulk of it just comes to the States.
I think he only sells to like 3 places. This importer, 8,000 Vintages, which has like 3 stores in Georgia and 1 in Berlin. And that's it.
So just to give you an idea, 1 hectare usually lends about like 50 hectoliter. So we're talking about, what is that, 100 liters per 1900, like 5,000 liters per hectare is basically about what you would get. So what is that? Let me do the math. 5,000, divide that by 750. No. 5,000, divide that by 0.75. Yeah. So that's about 6,666 bottles per hectare. So that's like 500 cases per hectare. That's about what it comes up with. Whether that's how much he gets, that's average. I don't know where he is, how much he's actually able to do. By the way, that's just average of like US production, but that's also including like conventional inorganic farming, where it's like machine harvested. So if he's doing, you know, organic, all hand harvested, it's probably even more. Whatever it is.
And we think it's all this grape, the one that starts with an A that I don't remember the name of.
Yeah. What about it?
We think all 2 hectares are this grape.
No, he makes other stuff too, which is even crazier. Yeah. So
Yeah, he's got quite the repertoire actually. I see on his Instagram he's got Takveri, which is another red grape.
the rosé that he gets from Takveri apparently like won a bunch of awards and stuff.
Takveri is like my favorite grape.
Oh, is that right? Okay.
It's auto sterile too. So
Alright.
it's very, yeah. And he plants chinuri, I think, as well.
Yeah, for sure. He's got like 4 different varieties that he plants. So yeah, not only very little, but on top of that, he makes it's not even all of this. So
This year, or maybe it was last year, he was planning a chinuri Garuli Mitzvana for Petnat, which would be cool.
cool.
So yeah, he's got like 5, 6 different.
Yeah, I couldn't even find out his background and like where he learned to make wine. None of it. So sorry, I don't have that information. Any other questions? Just out of curiosity, how many of you like regularly drink Georgia, or like how much exposure have you had to Georgia? Obviously, Julia, Liz, I know you drink quite a bit as well. But anyone besides Julia, Heidi, and Liz?
I've only
Is
had
any-
it when I've had dinner at Supra.
Okay.
My
okay.
first exposure to Georgian wines was at Supra, and I've eaten there a few times, so I've had
Yeah.
it a few
Okay.
times. But nothing like this. This is amazing. I love this wine.
Yeah, this is good, right? I love this one. Yeah, this is probably, I mean, not to, name my favorite, but this is probably my favorite out of the box. This is what I was most excited about out of the box.
Is it like naming a favorite child? You really have
Yeah.
one, but
Yeah, exactly. I mean, last week's wine was also really, really delicious and fun. The Polifonia. I really like that one a lot too. But I don't know. This one is the one who like that brightened my horizon. Like that defied my expectation about what it's going to be. Any other questions? Comments? Cool. Well, hearing none, I'm gonna stop the recording.